Now the very latest on the crash of Air France Flight 447. French investigators say there is no hope anyone survived Monday's crash in the Atlantic Ocean, and they are not optimistic the flight data recorder or cockpit voice recorder will be found. But military planes and ships from Brazil and France are finding wreckage. A debris field was actually spotted yesterday off the coast of Brazil, not far from the flight path. And today in Paris, an interreligious ceremony is being held at Notre Dame Cathedral for family and friends of the victims. French investigators say finding the cause of the crash would be a long and difficult process. Flight 447 was en route from Rio de Janeiro to Paris. Rob Marciano joining us now to talk a little bit more about the geography that they have to deal with in all of this, especially when they're trying to get a hold of those black boxes, if you will, trying to get more information about what may have happened.
Yeah, and you know, you've heard a lot of experts talk about how deep the water is there. You get out just a few hundred miles off into the Atlantic and it drops off precipitously, and even deeper out there, further out there, it gets even deeper than that. The problem one of the problems that they're having to deal with is this is just getting close to, as it crossed the equator, just getting close to what's called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is basically the separation of the Eurasian and North American plates, at least in the northern hemisphere. And at that spot, which is drawn by this line, I mean, things get really deep. You can go from 9,000 to 25,000 feet deep.
It's almost like mountains underwater.
In a hurry, yeah. And then it's very rugged. It can go from high to low in a hurry. Some equate it to like the Rocky Mountains underneath the water. Just to give you an idea, water temperatures there, 77 degrees, 77 to 85 degrees, winds 20 to 30 miles an hour there, and you got some swells along with that. As far as what's happening underneath it, this kind of estimates the top of the water down to some of the ground, and some of the estimates here, 9,000 to 10,000 feet. And again, it gets a little bit more rugged, and this doesn't quite have the resolution that would map out all those mountains and peaks that we would see underneath the water. But it's definitely a big headache for these guys who have to deal with that. And then you think about even diving a couple of thousand feet underwater, and the pressure and the amount of equipment that they have to have, and the risks they're taking just to go that deep. And then you're talking about potentially over 10,000 feet, over 20,000 feet, just to find some of the wreckage. And obviously the black boxes is one of the main things that they're looking for. So quite a number of obstacles to overcome.